It's the midday news on CoreTV News. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. The United States Department of State has warned its citizens in and outside Nigeria to avoid traveling to Adamawa, Borno and Yobe, the three states most ravaged by insurgency. Citing insecurity in the region, it described the situation in the northeast Nigeria as remaining fluid and unpredictable. Three southern states, though, were also added to the list of no-go zones. The U.S. Department of State strongly urges U.S. citizens in Nigeria to consider their own personal security and to keep personal safety in the forefront of their travel plans. The department continues to recommend against all but essential travel to the following states due to the risk of kidnappings, robberies, and other armed attacks. These include Adamawa, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Borno, and Delta. Others are Gombe, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Niger, Plateau, Rivers, Sokoto, Yobe, and Zamfara State. The statement further said there was a possibility of an outbreak of violence during the election, adding that the Nigerian armed forces were incapable of guaranteeing the safety of U.S. citizens. Meanwhile, the police authorities are now saying they have deployed officers of the Special Force Unit to protect electoral officials and materials during and after the February elections. Inspector General of Police Sulaiman Abba has directed the unit, which comprises officers and men of Special Protection Unit and the Counter-Terrorism Unit, to mobilize for deployment. Police spokesman Emmanuel Ojukwu said in a statement that the IG passed on the message at a briefing with senior officers in Abuja. He added that the directive demonstrates the readiness and resolve of the police force to ensure hitch-free and credible general elections. Ojukwu also noted that some of the strategies put in place by the police are already being implemented. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mahmood Mohammed, has sworn in chairmen and members of election petition tribunals for all 36 states and the FCT ahead of the 2015 general elections. This is in demonstration of the readiness of the judiciary for the task of determining petitions arising from the forthcoming election. Speaking at the ceremony in Abuja, Justice Mahmood warned the judges against accepting gifts or favors from politicians.
Let me use this opportunity to sound a note of warning to all judicial officers. Do not allow any politician or political party to compromise your integrity or your future. You must never again be used as tools to truncate our nation's democracy. I assure you that any judge found wanting will only have himself to blame, as the National Judicial Council will definitely not spare the rod in ensuring that the honor, respect, independence of the judiciary is properly protected.
Justice Mohammed Mahmood, the Chief Justice of Nigeria there. Meanwhile, the police authorities have set up a special investigative team to investigate offences emanating from the forthcoming general elections. This was the basis of a directive issued by Inspector General of Police Sulaiman Abba at a conference with senior officers from the rank of Commissioners of Police in Abuja. The team is to be headed by the Commissioner of Police in charge of the Force Legal Prosecution Department. The Inspector General of Police also reaffirmed that it is important that all of this be done. The readiness of the police to ensure free, fair and violence-free elections, as well as protect lives and property before, during and after the elections. The police also wants politicians and other political actors to play the game by the rule. Presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, has assured the business community in Kano of his readiness to revive moribund industries and textile companies. He also vowed to make the North the food basket of the country and create jobs for unemployed youths if voted to power. Buhari gave this assurance at a town hall meeting in Kano in continuation of his presidential campaign. He expressed concern at the growing poverty level and employment, which he blamed on poor handling of the nation's economy by the Jonathan administration.
We can only achieve this target if we are able to revive local manufacturing industries and stimulate value-added production. Gradual rise in cost of production in Asia provides a greater window of opportunity for us within the next decade. We can develop a made in Nigeria global brand within that period. Imported into power, we shall do the following. Firstly, revive the textile and other local manufacturing industries that have been rendered dormant largely because of government neglecting inappropriate or inconsistent policies. Reinvigorate the solid mineral sector by reviewing outdated mining legislation and ensuring greater transparency in licensing and operation. Work with state governments to turn northern Nigeria into Africa's food basket through a new system of grants and interest-free loans and the mechanization of agriculture. Fill the huge gap in middle-level technical manpower through massive investments in technical and tradesman skills education with direct involvement of the relevant.
And while the APC insists that bad leadership is responsible for the state of violence in Kaduna State, the state coordinator of Buhari organizations, Senator Sani Saleh, said at the news conference that the responsibility for injuries as well as loss of lives and property rests squarely with Governor Mukhtar Yero and his PDP government. He noted that there were reports of protest against the governor's failure and incompetence by angry citizens along his route from Beniguari and Inudawa in Chinko local government.
At the launch of his campaign last month, Governor Yero incited his supporters to violence, apart from threatening the property, liberty, and freedom of movement of Malam Nasir El-Rufai, the APC gubernatorial candidate. Our response to this threat was to ask our supporters not to respond to provocation. We also wrote to alert the National Human Rights Commission and representatives of the international community to this blatant instance of hate speech. In addition, the APC Kaduna State chapter has taken several steps to discharge its responsibility to preserve peace in Kaduna State so that campaigns and the elections can take place in a competitive but calm atmosphere. Despite the fact that our campaign itinerary had long been concluded with a zonal rally for Kaduna Central, we followed up the suspension of campaign activities in Kaduna by running massive radio announcements to advise our supporters to stay off the streets during the PDP rally to avoid being the victims of the callous shoot-at-sight order given to soldiers and security agents.
While there appears no hiding place for the Independent National Electoral Commission at the moment, the latest reason, of course, the reason may not be unconnected with the ongoing distribution of the permanent voter cards, among other issues across the country. The latest hit is coming from the Civil Liberty Organization, which accuses the INEC boss Atahiru Jaga of failing to learn from the past. President of human and civil rights groups in the country, Igo Akiriga, took this position at a press briefing in Lagos, tagged political violence, insecurity, and the state of human rights in Nigeria.
Was appointed by the federal government. He has continuously assured Nigerians that he has the capacity to conduct free and fair elections. But each time he finishes an exercise, the country gets further embarrassed by the avoidable lapses of INEC. For example, he prepared a budget that was submitted to the National Assembly to capture all his expenditures. That also includes procuring, card-readable machines for the elections. But as it is, these machines have not been tested. On February 14th, INEC is going to test those machines for the first time. And so, our fear in the CLO is that the embarrassment that we are running away from, we are going to be caught up in it on February 14th. That is one leg of it. The other leg of it is, Jega had enough time to produce PVCs. And he kept assuring Nigerians that he was ready with the PVCs. The PVCs have all the security features. They are very beautiful cards. You can use them in all manners of transactions. And all. Everybody was enthusiastic and optimistic. Lo and behold, 2 weeks to elections. In fact, it's under 1 week now. We are still distributing PVCs.
You're watching CoreTV News on the hour. We'll take a break now, and I'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back. You can also get all of our top stories on any of our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. We're also trending on Twitter at CoreTV News NG. You can stream our programs and news live on YouTube at youtube.com/CoreTV. Leave a space and news. Moving on now, as Nigerians get set for the 2015 general elections, the resident electoral commissioner in Lagos, Akin Orebi, has planned to appeal to Lagosians to go out now and collect their permanent voter cards. Orebi made this known to journalists after a closed-door meeting with Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola at the State House in Ikeja. He says INEC has concluded plans to ensure that all eligible voters are not disenfranchised during the poll.
What we've done is to make arrangements locally to ensure that the cards are available for collection at the various polling units across the state. Our appeal to Lagosians who have not collected theirs and who did register either in 2011 or last year, 2014, is now to come out to collect their cards. They are now as closest as they can be made available to them at their various homes near where they're going to vote, or exactly where they're going to vote on election days. So we urge them to find the time to also come out to collect the cards. We're also appealing at this moment to the Lagos State government to help us consider maybe declaring a public holiday on Friday or so to also enable people who are busy with work to come out and collect these cards.
The All Progressives Congress has again raised the alarm on what it called plan by the Goodluck Jonathan administration and the PDP to scuttle the 2015 general elections. The APC National Publicity Secretary Lai Mohammed revealed this at a meeting with journalists in Lagos. He stated that the judiciary is currently being courted by acolytes by the Jonathan administration to force election postponement with an objective to establish an interim government.
The non-election proponents are now working hard on their backup plan, which is to force a constitutional crisis that will ultimately lead to their goal, interim government. And the courts and tribunals are the main tools to be used in pursuing this devilish plot. They have re-strategized to procure blind judges to give outrageous and unpopular judgment at election tribunals and courts, judgments that are capable of destabilizing the polity. At the last count, 6 cases have been filed by the agents of those working to scuttle the elections, and we expect more. One of the cases, the Sademola of the Federal High Court in Abuja, on Monday, gave the order for a substituted service in the case instituted by Mags Uzoka against our candidate, General Muhammadu Buhari.
The APC also expresses concern over the ploy by the PDP-led federal government to converse the cooperation of members of the Council of State in its bid to prolong the Jonathan administration in office, a situation it warned may lead to anarchy.
In addition to using the courts, they've resorted to lobbying some members of the Council of States to support their clamor for election postponement. We hope the Council, which is due to meet later in the week, will put national interests above narrow partisan considerations and reject the poison chalice of election postponement. We call on local and international observers. We call on the media to take note of the scheming by the election postponement campaigners. This is because if they succeed, observers will have no elections to observe, and the media will have nothing to report except chaos.
APC National Publicity Secretary Lai Mohammed there. Well, the recent heat at postponement of the 2015 elections by the National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki has not ceased to generate heat. APC chieftain Abubakar Kau Baraje says the party will join the Nigerian masses to make sure that elections hold this February as scheduled. He stated that the idea is inimical to the existence of the nation.
Already, and for even going ahead to extend the distribution and collection of PVC up to 8th of February is a very good sign that by the grace of God we are going to have a free, fair, credible election in Nigeria. So I'm very optimistic, and I think INEC deserve a pat on the back for this kind of effort. And we have shouted to the whole world that any attempt to change that day, any attempt to postpone the election is calling for anarchy.
Looks like racism is rearing its ugly head again in South Africa. Find out updates on that story after this break.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Welcome back. Education and Human Rights authorities say on Tuesday that they had launched investigations into racism at private schools after parents at one of the schools complained that black and white pupils were segregated. The probe was ordered after 30 parents of children at Kuro Foundation School in Pretoria wrote a petition last month condemning the splitting of classes based on race.
The whole situation has been pulled out of context completely. It was never a case of putting black people in one class and white people in another class. It was a question of getting language parameters set in place. Black people in general prefer their children to be educated in English, but there's also a large white contingent people here with Afrikaans children. So in my opinion, it just made a lot of sense for education purposes to have the English children in one class and the white children in another, or not white children but Afrikaans children in another class.
It's not just about languages. First they said it's about culture. It's not about culture because you get black kids that's Zulu, Sotho speaking. It's not just about that, no.
Even though my child's in the Afrikaans class, she has her black friends, coloured friends, and they all get on very, very well. There was never a problem. She said to me, Mom, I don't know what the problem is because we don't have a problem with each other.
We are building a democratic country. Our neighbors are all different colours at home, so why come to school and then segregate them? So that was our issue. Our issue was, what are you teaching a grade R little boy or girl about race, because in the class there's no one of color. We've all been to school. We all know how we respect teachers at school. We all know how we sort of put teachers on a pedestal. So if there is no teacher of color on a pedestal that kids can go and look up to, what are we teaching our kids? You know, it is a problem. We need to integrate from that level all the way down.
And that wraps it this hour on CoreTV News. Do join us again at the top of the hour for more stories. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Thanks for being there.